So as I said, this is a big day for literature. In Alabama, the center of this universe. I've got to start with you, Terry. This is a pretty big event. What does this mean for Alabama? What does this mean for book selling?
Well, obviously for us, it's been an incredibly exciting event that we've been planning for months and months, ever since we first heard that this event was going to happen. And today has proven beyond our wildest imaginations to be the biggest debut of any novel ever. And I've been at Books A Million for 30 years, and so I've seen a few come and go. So it's extraordinary. Our company started in 1917 in Florence, Alabama. So we're coming up on our 100-year anniversary. This is our state. This was our book, To Kill a Mockingbird. And when we heard about Watchmen, we said, this is ours. We're going to bring this to market. We're going to do everything we can to find as many readers as possible for this book. And so it's been a wonderful journey, an incredible experience. We're getting hourly sales reports today. And I can just tell you that there was pure giddiness at the office over on the other side of town as we watched readers buy this book. So to us, it's home, and it's very exciting.
I think we have to just start at the heart of the matter. Harper Lee has been in the limelight, but as any good author, few people have been in the limelight more than, as we mentioned, Atticus Finch. So we have this new character emerging, and do we think Atticus Finch is a racist or a sign of the times of the 1950s and the complicated land we lived in?
I'll admit, we get the books a few days early, so I read the book. Atticus Finch, as he is known to us in Watchmen, is a complex character and a real person. You have to. Her Lee wrote this book when she was 26 years old. The character of Jean Louise is 26 years old. Her father is 72. The book is set in the mid-1950s. He's a real character. He's a real person. In many ways, he's the person you know, and in some surprising ways, he's not. Which is why, through all of the noise since the reviews came out, I felt I could not wait for readers to read, because readers will bring the proper perspective to who Atticus is. But there's no question that this book brings us a character set in a time, and he's very real.
To Kill a Mockingbird, this image, does it tarnish it at all? Priscilla, do you have any thoughts on this?
I have some thoughts on it. I haven't read it. I know that we like to build up our heroes.
Right.
And I think Atticus is one of those. And we just as quickly like to tear them down. And I often say that we want simple answers to complex situations. And I think we like our people simple too. And particularly when it comes to issues of race in this country, the nuances, the realities of history and place and time, situations and culture, we don't like to deal with that very much. Give me a quick, simple answer. I have not read the book, and I'm as interested in Scout's evolution. There's all this focus on Atticus,
right.
I think largely because of the movie. No, but
yeah, right.
And we've built him up as this iconic American figure of justice and right and the American way. But I'm really interested in Scout and the evolution and development of Scout as this young woman who comes home.
I guess a question with something like this and To Kill a Mockingbird and then leading into Go Set A Watchman, is there a secret hope you harbor that one day you'll reach that point in the career where you'll let it fly? Does everything you write, maybe you don't want the world to see because you're scared to death, but secretly we hear Harper Lee, by all accounts, is pretty ecstatic about this. She's reached this day in the later years of her life where it's like, go, be out there. Does a writer grapple with that?
One thing we were talking about on the way over here is the fact that she didn't want the book to be edited.
Yeah.
That's, as a writer, that's terrifying to me.
Right.
I want everything to be edited. I want this sentence to be edited. I could have done better had I had a moment or somebody help me with it. So that makes me curious. Other writers, there are a couple of other writers who famously refused to be edited. One of them is Thomas Harris, who wrote Red Dragon and Silence of the Lambs. Hannibal, he would not have edited. Guess what? It could use some editing. These are smart people who do their job well. So I'm just curious as to, maybe she just didn't want to deal with it. She's 89. She's in an assisted living home. She doesn't want to go through pages of copy edited manuscript.
Oh,
Sorry. That's her ghost.
I think that was me.
That's Harper Lee.
I'm glad you took
God.
mine. Yeah.
So that's kind of an aside. What was your question again?
That was not a time warning, by the way. You were just getting warmed up.
There's nothing I have written that I don't want out there yet, but I have a lot of material that I'm afraid to write now because it might hurt my parents. One thing I've learned after having published 4.5 books is that around every book is a small group of published book is a small group of angry people. And maybe the more successful the book, the larger the group of angry people is, I'm sure. But I have like 4 or 5 people for every book who are mad at me, and they're mostly family members.
Right.
And my parents and I are very close, but I've got some strange religious background. I've speaking in tongues and book burnings and exorcisms, all kind of things like that. That's going to make a fascinating book one day. But I think it might hurt my parents. So I have material that I'm afraid to use, but not a book. And I was fortunate to meet Harper Lee's younger sister, Louise, once. Had a nice talk with her. And I said, the question everybody had asked Louise and Alice and everybody else, is she still writing? And she said she never stopped writing. So this is evidence of that. But as to your earlier question, I just don't know, with her. I don't know if there are more books. Maybe there's a third book that will further complicate Atticus Finch. Who knows? And maybe he comes full circle. I don't know, but it'll be really interesting. And I'm eager to read this next one. I am.
Great. From both
I have a question kind of on this idea that it turns out maybe To Kill a Mockingbird is not the story Harper Lee wanted to tell, that Watchmen was actually the story she wanted to tell based on her experience. And then through these various changes we've been discussing tonight, we get a completely different story, which is Mockingbird, which is not exactly her story, which is produced possibly because the story she wanted to tell was too close to the actual time period, was too, pun intended, black and white, and we wanted to return to a simpler time, or the editors wanted us to return to a simpler time. And then that story wins the Pulitzer Prize. So what does that say about politics, book selling, and the theory of everything?
Who could possibly go there on that one?
Well,
Not it.
in 7 seconds, I will just say that's as close as we've gotten to what I really think is going on here tonight.
Yes, I do too.
Which is, I do think this book probably couldn't have been published in 1955, 1961. And when you read it, you'll understand why. And in that way, it reads in an incredibly contemporary manner. It's astounding. And of course, in the wake of Charleston, in the wake of everything we've been through just in the last 6 months, you read this book, and somebody said earlier, 1930s, 1950s, I came of age in the 1960s. It's 2015, and this reads as an awfully contemporary story from the standpoint of the themes we were talking about. And I think that's one of the reasons it's going to resonate with readers. And I've told my folks at Books A Million when I read it over the 4th of July weekend, I kept finishing a chapter and putting it down, like literally needed a deep breath, because it's raw, and it is difficult, and it's close to home. So I think as the next few days pass and people get this book in their hands and read it, all the silliness about the reasons and all the rest of it notwithstanding, the themes of this book are powerful and worthy.
Excellent. So, yes, I think that's powerful. Excellent.